Every day, you essentially pay your dues by doing the harder thing when it's the right thing to do. How can we get more sand in the top of the hourglass during preseason to be better prepared for competitive meets, right, or competitive season? And I think if we go back to last lecture, we talk about, you know, the work from Tim Gabbett, the work from many other good stress researchers, the work of many other strength conditioning coaches with periodization is, well, that's what we're trying to do, is we're trying to intelligently and very creatively train hard to build adaptations through those stress and recovery cycles we talked about, but not push the gas pedal too hard that we burn people out. Vice versa, we don't want to not do anything and just hope that season goes well. We actually have to work hard. We actually have to have really intelligent training programs if we want to get athletes to adapt and get stronger and be ready for the competitive year. So the entire preseason is really aimed on building off what we did in the off season for getting drills or skills or strength and things like that, and kind of turning somebody into an operational approach to getting ready for the meets that are coming up, but not killing them too much, right? So we want to slowly build up our potential and getting ready for those meets, but we don't want to go so hard, so fast that we maybe cause injuries or spike someone's mental wellness to come down the tubes. Trying to do and take a big step back. Like, what is the goal of the preseason? Okay, well, number one is we're trying to get all of the foundational strength gains that we've made from the off season and really develop our body to work for power, right? Gymnastics in any discipline and every single thing we do is an explosive body weight sport, right? So that's really what we're trying to focus on, is how do we get all of the strength gains and all of the athletes ready to go as hard as they can, as fast as they can, do big explosive tumbling or vault or jumping on trampoline or whatever else they want to do. We really have to focus on creating that foundational power aspect if we hope to have really good meet season routines and we hope to have really powerful tumbling. Okay. Number two, from more of the energy systems or cardio point of view, is we want to try to make sure we're going from that maybe global base of aerobic fitness, or maybe just that general fitness and that we have at hand, and really teaching their bodies how to work in bursted intervals, right? So floor routines are 70 to 90 seconds, but we have beam routines that are in the same kind of area of 60, and bar routines, right? Trampoline routines, any sort of aerobic or rhythmic floor routine, right? They're not these 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 minute endeavors, right? They're up to, very, very short intervals of a minute and a half in some cases. So that's kind of what we need to focus on, is really getting the energy systems ready to handle that, right? Because if you take those things together, if you take together the skill work and the actual routine progressions, and you add really, really good explosive power and shaping and some really good foundational strength and basics, but then you also train the athlete to handle that 90 seconds of high intensity, that is how you have the best foundational success to do well in a meet. Obviously, training your routines and practicing routines and the meet prep and the competition, the mental, performance aspects of managing your stress levels and your anxiety and hitting a routine under pressure. Those are obviously very, very important, right? But without foundational power and the foundational energy systems to do those things, you're going to constantly be frustrated when you try to put routines together. Okay, number three is we're really trying to get all of our skills, all of our combinations, and eventually get to the end goal of competing, right? We want to be able to do a full routine on all events and compete really, really well and hit our requirements, hit our different execution goals that we have for really clean form. Try to make sure we hit under pressure, have the mental capacity to do that, and also the physiological capacity. So we're trying to really push the athletes over the course of these 12 weeks or this 3-month block into going from, okay, here are the skills I want to do for my level, or this is the compulsory routine I'm doing, and actually get through an entire routine from a mental and a physical point of view. So when you take a big step back there and you think about, okay, those are my 3 main goals, the rest of what we do is really going to be built around, okay, well, how do we chop up the 3 months we have into smaller segments, and then what are we doing in those smaller segments to get explosive power, to get that anaerobic burst, or that kind of interval-based cardio preparation, and also get our routines right. If you can tap more efficiently and harder on your shape-changing technique, you might have a higher dismount or a higher Tkachev or something like that. If you can be much more smooth with your technique, but you can also increase the amount of time you can deliver that force by, reduce the time you're delivering that force by, so I can move faster, the same amount of force over less time, you can have the potential to be more powerful. So a little bit geeky here, but essentially what we need to do is we need to train for this. We need to train for them to work faster, right? We need to train sprints and explosive jumps and bounding work and med ball slams and throws. Like, we need to actually have the skill work and the actual opportunity to say, hey, move as fast as you possibly can, which again is why I like things like med ball throws or med ball slams, because there's no inherent danger to throwing a med ball really, really hard at the ground or overhead. There is a little bit of danger for having someone just tumble as hard as they can and set as high as they can and hope that it goes well, right? So we can train these things in safer settings, like I mentioned. And again, you will obviously improve your, your ground reaction times if you have really great technique, like I just talked about. If you're stiffer, you know where to look. You can snap down faster. You can snap into the floor faster. You're going to have more potential energy coming back to get a higher tumbling pass. But essentially, increasing force and reducing the time is how we're going to get someone to be more powerful. Okay. A lactate clearance workout, here are 2 examples. So we might do 10 seconds of work, max effort, 10 seconds of an isometric hold, and then 40 seconds of a recovery. So say you do 10, as many push-ups as you can do in 10 seconds, or many, squats you can do in 10 seconds. You hold the halfway point for 10 seconds, and then you do a flip on your back and do a very slow air push-up up and down on your back. And again, not going to go into the really geeky research of why that's effective, but Chris Hinshaw has taught me so much about that kind of stuff that really, really helps. But that's essentially called lactate shuttling if you're curious about where we're going there. So we would do that. Another option is to do 60 seconds of work and then a 60-second recovery, and you alternate with your partner, right? So here's an example I'll show you. So 20 seconds of plate hops, 20 seconds of squat jumps, and then 20 seconds of arm plate hops. So kind of hopping your hands up and off a panel mat. I'll show you that. And then in between, you would do a very slow air squat to an overhead press, again, to teach your body how to clear out some of that fatigue. This one is better shown than talked about. So 20 seconds of plate hops here. You can see them just hopping back and forth. This helps the calves work really, really quick. And then they're going to run over to the squat mats here. They would do hands on hips, as many squat jumps as they can in a 20-second window. I'm encouraging them to go as fast as they absolutely possibly can with high quality. And then they would run over to do 20 seconds of plate hops here with their upper body, nice soft elbows so nobody's wrists or elbows get too sore. And then they would run over and do knee push-ups, right? So knee push-ups all the way. This one's in a minute and 20 seconds, obviously. So again, the thought process is we're working the legs and the arms very, very intensely for about a minute. They would switch partners while the other partner goes. The people in the back will do very slow lunges to overhead presses to try to teach their arms and legs to clear some of that fatigue. We would go 6 rounds. So it takes about 15, 20 minutes in total, but it's a pretty good workout, right? Pretty good, pretty effective. And again, it's not just throwing a bunch of exercises at someone and hoping they get really tired.